It's fascinating. Everyone wants to improve their life, but very few people want to improve themselves. We buy books, we attend seminars, we scroll through motivational videos, yet somehow we still feel the same. The truth is, my friends, your life doesn't get better by chance, it gets better by change. And that change always begins from within you. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you upgraded your phone? Probably a few months ago. But when was the last time you upgraded your mind, your habits, or your heart? You see, life is not about collecting gadgets, it's about developing character. Today, I want to share with you 3 things, just 3, that have the power to truly improve you as a person, as a soul, and as a light in this world. Once a young man came to me and said, "I want to improve my life. I feel stuck. I don't know what's wrong, but I'm not happy." I smiled and said, "Improvement doesn't begin with what's outside of you. It begins with what's inside you." You see, most people think improvement means earning more money, achieving higher status, or being recognized by others. But true improvement is when your heart becomes softer, your mind becomes calmer, and your spirit becomes stronger. When your reactions turn into reflections, when your anger turns into awareness, when your pain turns into purpose, that's improvement. When life doesn't break you but builds you, that's improvement. So, today let's dive deep into 3 timeless truths that can transform the way you think, feel, and live. If you truly practice them, you won't just become successful, you'll become peaceful, and that's the greatest form of success. Improve your mind before you improve your life. Most people are busy fixing the outside world, the job, the house, the relationships, the appearance, but forget the one place that truly creates all experience, the mind. Your life is not lived in the world outside, it is lived in the world within. Think about it. The same situation can make one person miserable and another person peaceful. What's the difference? It's not the event, it's the mind that interprets it. When your mind is cluttered, even blessings feel like burdens, but when your mind is clear, even burdens feel like blessings. Improvement, therefore, doesn't start from changing your surroundings, it starts from changing your state of mind. Let's imagine something simple. You wake up in the morning and your phone battery is low. You feel a little annoyed. Then your coffee spills, and suddenly your irritation doubles. You step out of your home, and traffic makes you furious. The whole day feels ruined. No pause, nothing big really happened. Yet you carry those small moments like heavy stones in your pocket all day long. Why? Because your mind didn't know how to drop them. This is where real improvement begins. Learning how to clean the inner space where you live every second. Our mind is like a garden. If you don't nurture it, weeds of worry, jealousy, and comparison will grow naturally. But if you water it with wisdom, reflection, and gratitude, beautiful thoughts will blossom. The gardener doesn't get angry when weeds appear. He simply removes them and continues nurturing the plants. Similarly, when negative thoughts arise, don't be harsh with yourself. Just gently replace them. Improvement is not about perfection. It's about patience. It's not about never having a bad thought, but about learning to not let that thought drive your life. I remember meeting a man who always said, "Everything goes wrong in my life." I asked him, "Tell me one thing that went right this week." He paused for a long moment and then said, "Well, I'm healthy." I smiled and said, "Then something went right." You see, our mind has a strange tendency. It amplifies what is wrong and ignores what is right. If 10 things happen in a day, and 9 go beautifully, we will obsess over the one that didn't. That is why training the mind is essential. You can't improve your life until you teach your mind how to see life differently. When you improve your mind, the same world looks new. The same morning feels brighter, the same people seem kinder, and even your challenges start feeling like lessons. A peaceful mind doesn't make life easy, it makes life meaningful. You start seeing purpose behind every delay, strength behind every failure, and wisdom behind every pain. It's not that problems disappear. It's that your mind grows strong enough to rise above them. Consider how a child reacts to a rainy day. Some cry because they can't go outside, others jump in puddles with joy. The rain is the same, but the experience is different. Improvement means becoming like that child who finds beauty in what others complain about. It means realizing that your peace doesn't depend on perfect conditions. It depends on your inner condition. Start observing your thoughts. Every morning, before the world rushes in, take 5 minutes just to sit with yourself. Notice what you're thinking. Are your thoughts filled with gratitude or worry? Are they lifting you or limiting you? You cannot heal what you refuse to feel, and you cannot change what you don't notice. Awareness is the first step to improvement. A strong mind is not one that never breaks, but one that knows how to rebuild itself again and again. One day, a student asked a monk, "How do I control my mind?" The monk smiled and replied, "You don't control it, you train it. Just like you can't force the body to become strong overnight, you can't force the mind to become peaceful instantly. You train it through discipline. By reading, meditating, reflecting, praying, or simply pausing before reacting. The more you practice, the more your mind begins to serve you instead of sabotage you. You might say, "But life is so stressful. How can I always stay calm?" My friend, calmness doesn't mean you don't feel pressure. It means the pressure doesn't own you. Improvement of the mind doesn't happen in the absence of challenges, it happens in the middle of them. You grow when you choose patience over panic, understanding over assumptions, and hope over helplessness. Try this. Next time something doesn't go your way, instead of saying, "Why me?" say, "What can I learn?" This one shift can turn pain into purpose. Every situation, good or bad, can either make you bitter or better. And that choice is always in your mind. When you nurture a growth mindset, everything in life becomes a teacher. Failure becomes feedback, rejection becomes redirection, and delay becomes divine timing. So, improve your mind, and you will see your whole world transform. You won't need to chase happiness. It will naturally flow from within you. You won't depend on others for peace. It will become your state of being. Remember, your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. If your inner world is chaotic, peace will always feel distant. But if your inner world is calm, even in chaos, you will shine. Improve your reactions, not just your actions. Life will never stop testing you. People will disappoint you, plans will fail, and moments will come when things won't go the way you imagined. You can't control everything that happens, but you can always control how you respond. And that one decision, how you respond, shapes the quality of your life more than any other. It's not what happens to you that defines you. It's what happens inside you when life happens to you. Every day, we face moments that trigger us. Someone cuts us off in traffic. A colleague speaks rudely. A loved one misunderstands us. In those small moments, we stand at a crossroads between reaction and reflection. Most of us react without pause. We raise our voice, send a harsh message, or carry anger for hours. And then we suffer not because of the event itself, but because of our reaction to it. Our reaction becomes the real source of pain. Improvement, therefore, doesn't mean we stop facing problems. It means we stop giving them the power to disturb our peace. Think about this. When you squeeze an orange, what comes out? Orange juice, naturally. Why? Because that's what's inside. Similarly, when life squeezes you, whatever is inside you will come out. If you are full of anger, frustration will pour out. If you are full of peace, calmness will flow even in pressure. Life's pressures don't create your reactions, they reveal them. They show you what's truly inside your heart and mind. So the goal isn't to avoid being squeezed, it's to fill yourself with goodness so that when life tests you, only light flows out. Imagine this scenario: you're at work and someone unfairly criticizes your effort. Instantly your mind says, "That's not fair." You feel heat in your chest, tension in your jaw, and your ego wants to fight back. But then you pause just for a moment and take a deep breath. You remind yourself, I don't have to match their energy. I can rise above it. That tiny pause is where growth happens. That's the moment you choose wisdom over impulse, peace over pride. When you do that, your reaction becomes your power, not your weakness. Most people believe that reacting quickly makes them strong. But true strength lies in restraint. The most powerful people are not those who never feel anger or hurt. They are those who don't let anger or hurt decide their next move. They understand that every reaction is an energy investment. The more you react, the more you drain yourself. The more you respond consciously, the more you empower yourself. Let's take a daily life example. You're scrolling through social media and someone leaves a rude comment on your post. You can spend hours thinking about it, replying angrily, or even losing confidence in yourself. Or you can smile and say, "That's just someone's opinion. It doesn't define me." See the difference. One reaction steals your peace, the other protects it. The world may not always be kind, but you can always be kind to your own mind. Another story I often remember is of a man who came home every evening after a stressful job. The moment he entered the house, he would argue with his wife, scold the children, and complain about his day. One day, he realized something painful. His work wasn't making his home unhappy. His reaction was. The next day, he decided to pause outside his door for just 1 minute before entering. He would breathe deeply and mentally leave all his stress at the doorstep. Slowly, his evenings became peaceful again. His home didn't change, he did. When we react, we are controlled by others. When we respond, we are guided by ourselves. Life becomes beautiful when we stop allowing every little thing to disturb our inner world. You can't stop waves from coming, but you can learn how to surf. You can't stop people from being unfair, but you can stop them from stealing your calm. Improvement begins the moment you stop letting the outside world dictate your inner state. Reactions are impulsive, responses are intentional. The difference between the two is a breath. One deep breath can change the outcome of an entire situation. When someone shouts, breathe. When something fails, breathe. When plans collapse, breathe. That pause between stimulus and response is where your wisdom lies. As Viktor Frankl once said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In that choice lies our growth and our freedom. Sometimes silence is the best response. It doesn't mean weakness, it means maturity. When you know your peace is worth more than proving your point, you've grown. You start realizing that not every opinion deserves an argument, Not every insult deserves a reply, and not every misunderstanding deserves an explanation. You don't always need to react. Sometimes you just need to remain still and let life unfold. Remember, your reactions are your spiritual mirror. They show you where you still need healing. If someone's words can easily break your peace, it's not their words that are powerful. It's your inner wounds that need attention. Every situation that provokes you is actually an opportunity to practice inner mastery. Life will keep repeating the same lessons until you learn to respond differently. The moment you change your reaction, the pattern breaks. Improve your circle, not just your surroundings. The truth is, who you are becoming has a lot to do with who you are becoming with. The people around you are either helping you grow or slowly pulling you down without you even realizing it. We often focus on decorating our rooms, upgrading our gadgets, or changing our cities, thinking that a new environment will make us happier. But even the most beautiful surroundings cannot heal a toxic circle. Your surroundings might influence your comfort, but your circle influences your character. And that makes all the difference. Imagine spending your days around people who constantly complain, gossip, and criticize others. You might start with a strong mind and positive attitude, but slowly their negativity begins to shape your thinking. Their energy seeps into your thoughts, their words echo in your mind, and without realizing it, you begin to mirror their behavior. That's why they say, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It's not just a quote, it's a deep truth about human nature. Energy is contagious. Whether it's joy or jealousy, peace or pessimism, you catch it just by being around it. Let me share a simple story. Once, a young man came to a wise teacher and said, I don't understand. I want to improve myself, but every time I try, my friends pull me back into old habits. The teacher smiled, pointed to a glass of clear water, and then added a drop of ink. The water turned cloudy instantly. Do you see? The teacher said. The water didn't do anything wrong. It was pure. But one drop of negativity changed its entire nature. The young man nodded slowly, realizing that sometimes, no matter how pure your intentions are, if you stay surrounded by toxic energy, your clarity will fade. This doesn't mean we should abandon everyone who is struggling. It means we must be conscious of the influence we allow into our space. If someone constantly drains your energy, belittles your dreams, or mocks your growth, it's not unkind to step away. It's wise. You can still wish them well from a distance. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's essential. Just as you wouldn't drink polluted water to prove your kindness, you shouldn't tolerate toxic relationships to prove your loyalty. Think of your circle as your garden. Some people are like flowers. They add color, fragrance, and beauty to your life. Some are like weeds. They grow fast but choke your growth quietly. And some are like shade. They protect you when life gets too hot. You must tend this garden with care. Uproot the weeds of negativity gently but firmly. Water the friendships that help you bloom. There are people who will challenge you, not to break you, but to build you. They won't always tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. Such souls are rare. They are your mirrors. They show you where you're wrong without making you feel small. When you find them, hold them close. These are the people who celebrate your growth, not compete with it. They don't clap only when you win. They help you stand when you fall. Surround yourself with such people and you'll find improvement happens naturally. Sometimes, improving your circle also means spending time alone. Because solitude can be a teacher too. When you sit with yourself, you begin to understand who truly deserves a place in your life. You realize that peace is better than forced company, that one genuine connection is worth more than a crowd of shallow ones. Loneliness is not the absence of people, it's the absence of purpose in relationships. When you start valuing your own energy, you stop begging for attention that drains you. We all have people who make us doubt ourselves, who constantly remind us of what we lack instead of what we have. If you keep listening to such voices, you'll soon forget your own worth. But when your circle includes those who remind you of your potential, who believe in you even when you falter, your self-belief multiplies. Improvement then becomes effortless because positivity becomes your atmosphere. I once met a woman who said, "I used to think I was not good enough until I met a mentor who told me, 'You've just been standing in the wrong light.'" That one sentence changed her. She started surrounding herself with people who lifted her up instead of tearing her down. Her confidence grew, her dreams revived, and her life transformed. Sometimes it's not you that's broken, it's the environment you've been planted in. Change your circle, and you'll see how you start to bloom again. Life is too short to spend in circles that keep you stuck in small thinking. Don't stay where your growth is seen as a threat. Stay where it's celebrated. Don't stay where you're merely tolerated. Stay where you're valued. It's okay to outgrow people. Not everyone you start the journey with is meant to go with you till the end. Some are lessons, some are blessings, and some are both. But every time you choose peace over pressure, authenticity over approval, you are improving your circle, and with that yourself. In the end, remember this: your circle should reflect where you want to go, not where you've been. If you want to grow spiritually, be around those who remind you of God, not gossip. If you want to be kind, be around those who inspire compassion, not competition. Energy either uplifts or exhausts. Choose wisely. The people you walk with will either walk you towards peace or away from it. And when you start choosing your circle with awareness, you realize improvement isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to the best version of who you already are. Improve your habits, not your image. In a world where everyone is trying to look good, very few are trying to be good. We live in an age of filters and followers, where appearance often matters more than authenticity. People spend hours curating their image, but forget to cultivate their inner world. Yet, the truth is simple. Your habits will build your destiny, not your display. You can post inspiration, but if you don't practice discipline, the results will never show. The mirror can reflect your face, but your habits reflect your future. We all want big changes. We want to be more successful, more peaceful, more fulfilled. But change doesn't come from a single decision. It comes from the tiny choices you make every single day. Your life doesn't change in a moment, it changes in the moments you repeat. The way you speak, the way you think, the way you spend your mornings, your nights, all of these tiny habits are shaping who you are becoming. You don't decide your future, you decide your habits, and your habits decide your future. Imagine two people with the same dream to get fit. The first one buys new gym clothes, posts about their new fitness journey, and feels motivated for a few days. The second one quietly wakes up early every day, exercises even when it's difficult, and eats mindfully without announcing it to the world. A few months later, one has a new outfit, the other has a new life. This is the difference between improving your image and improving your habits. Real growth is silent. It doesn't need an audience, it needs consistency. The most successful people in any field aren't necessarily the most talented. They're the most consistent. They've learned that discipline is more reliable than motivation. Motivation makes you start, but discipline makes you continue. Motivation is loud, discipline is quiet. Motivation lasts for a moment, discipline lasts for a lifetime. When you build strong habits, you no longer depend on moods or inspiration. You simply show up again and again, and that's what makes miracles happen. Think of a farmer. He plants seeds and waters them every day, even when he doesn't see results. He doesn't dig up the soil every morning to check if the plant has grown. He trusts the process. And one day, those seeds sprout. That's how habits work. You may not see results immediately, but slowly, silently, they begin to change your life. You just need faith and patience to keep going, even when nothing seems to be happening. Because every time you choose discipline over delay, you are building strength within. A young man once came to a teacher and said, "I want to change my life." The teacher smiled and replied, "Then change your days." The man looked puzzled. The teacher continued, "If you want to change your life, change what you do daily. Change your habits, and your life will follow." It's not the big decisions that transform us, it's the small, repeated ones. Reading one page a day may not seem like much, but in a year, that's hundreds of pages of wisdom. Spending 5 minutes in prayer or silence may not seem significant, but over time, it creates a mind that's calm under chaos. Every habit is a vote for the person you want to become. Each time you choose to meditate instead of scroll, you are voting for peace. Each time you speak kindly instead of reacting harshly, you are voting for maturity. Each time you wake up early to reflect, instead of sleeping through the morning, you are voting for purpose. You may not see the impact instantly, but slowly those small votes accumulate, and they define your identity. Unfortunately, many people are trapped in improving their image instead of their habits. They care more about how things look than how things are. They want to appear kind, but not truly practice patience. They want to look spiritual, but not actually surrender ego. They want to seem hardworking, but not truly sacrifice comfort. But life doesn't reward appearances. It rewards authenticity. You can impress people with your image, but you can only transform your life with your habits. I once met a woman who told me, "I'm always tired, unmotivated, and unhappy, even though I'm trying so hard to stay positive." I asked her, "Tell me about your daily routine." She sighed and said, "Well, I sleep late, skip breakfast, scroll through social media, and rush to work." I smiled gently and said, "Then your habits are stealing your happiness." We don't realize how much our small actions shape our energy. How you start your morning, what you feed your mind, what kind of conversations you engage in. All of this decides whether your day flows with peace or pressure. Improving your habits doesn't always mean doing more. Sometimes it means doing less. Less gossip, less procrastination, less complaining. Sometimes the best improvement is subtraction. Letting go of habits that drain your spirit is as important as building habits that uplift it. If you fill your time with what nourishes your soul, your life will naturally start feeling lighter and more meaningful. Habits are not built overnight. They require patience, forgiveness, and faith. You will fail some days. You will fall back into old patterns. But remember, every day is a fresh chance to begin again. Improvement doesn't mean perfection, it means persistence. Even if you improve just one small thing daily, the way you think, The way you eat, the way you speak, your life will quietly transform. And one day, without realizing it, you'll look back and see how far you've come. You'll see that the effort was worth it, that the struggle was sacred. Because while the world was busy trying to look successful, you were busy becoming peaceful. You'll realize that a good reputation is temporary, but good habits are eternal. Your image can change with trends, but your habits build your truth. And when truth becomes your habit, you no longer have to prove yourself. Your life itself becomes your proof. Improve your perspective, not your problems. Most people spend their entire life trying to fix what's happening outside them, without realizing that the real transformation begins inside them. The same situation can feel unbearable or manageable depending on how you see it. Life is not about changing every circumstance. It's about changing the way you look at those circumstances. When you change the way you see the world begins to change for you. Problems don't always shrink, but your perspective can grow big enough to rise above them. We all have days when everything seems to go wrong. Traffic jams, misunderstandings, deadlines, disappointments. The immediate thought that comes is, why is this happening to me? But imagine if instead of asking, why me, you asked, what is this trying to teach me? That simple shift in perspective turns pain into purpose, struggle into strength, and delay into divine timing. The problem may still be there, but your experience of it transforms. You no longer feel like a victim of life, you become a student of it. Think of a rainy day. One person looks out the window and complains that the rain has ruined their plans. Another person looks at the same rain and feels grateful for the freshness, the coolness, the gift of nature. The rain didn't change, the mind did. The same is true for life. Your peace does not depend on the situation, it depends on your perception of it. When your perspective is negative, even small inconveniences feel like mountains. When your perspective is wise, even mountains start to feel climbable. There's a beautiful story of a man who worked at a factory for years. Every day, he complained about his job, the noise, the people, the pressure. He felt miserable and blamed his work for his unhappiness. One day, he met an old co-worker who had lost his eyesight due to an accident, but still came to work with a smile every morning. The man asked him, "How do you stay happy in this place?" The blind worker smiled and said, "I may not see the light, but I can still feel it. I may not have perfect circumstances, but I still have purpose." That day, the man realized his job wasn't the problem. His perspective was. Every challenge in life can be seen through two lenses, the lens of complaint or the lens of clarity. When you wear the lens of complaint, everything feels unfair and heavy. When you wear the lens of clarity, you start seeing growth hidden inside the struggle. The same fire that burns wood also hardens clay and purifies gold. Life's tests are not here to destroy you, but to define you. The difference lies in how you choose to see them. Think about how often we label situations as bad simply because they didn't go according to our plan. Maybe you didn't get the job you wanted, or the relationship didn't work out, or the dream took longer than expected. But what if those closed doors were actually protection? What if the delay was preparation? Sometimes life removes something not to punish you, but to redirect you to something greater. Perspective is what helps you trust the timing of life even when you don't understand it. There was once a man stuck in a traffic jam, growing frustrated because he was late for an appointment. He kept honking, sighing, and cursing the situation. After a while, he noticed an ambulance stuck in the same traffic ahead of him, carrying a patient in pain. At that moment, his anger melted into gratitude. He thought, at least I'm safe, at least I'm fine. The traffic didn't move, but his heart did. The road was still blocked, but his mind opened. That's what perspective does. It changes suffering into appreciation in an instant. We all carry invisible stories, disappointments, heartbreaks, struggles. Sometimes we compare our pain to others and feel like life is unfair. But remember, everyone is fighting a battle you cannot see. When you start viewing life through compassion instead of comparison, your perspective expands. You stop asking, "Why is my life so hard?" and start asking, "What can I learn from this? And how can I help someone through it?" The moment you see beyond yourself, your problems start to lose their power. Perspective also teaches patience. When you plant a seed, you don't expect it to bloom overnight. You trust that growth takes time, unseen, underground, and often unnoticed. Life works in the same way. Sometimes you won't see the results of your effort immediately, but that doesn't mean nothing is happening. You just need to hold faith. A wider perspective helps you understand that the delays, the detours, and the difficulties are not roadblocks, they are part of the journey. One day, when you look back, you'll realize that some of the hardest moments were actually the ones that shaped your wisdom the most. You'll realize that what once felt like a curse was a blessing in disguise. Perspective gives you that gift, the ability to find meaning in the midst of mess, peace in the middle of pain, and light even in the darkest moments. It helps you live with gratitude rather than grievance, with understanding rather than anger. So when life feels heavy, don't always rush to change the situation. Change how you see it. Every experience, pleasant or painful, is a teacher. Every setback is a setup for strength. Don't let temporary difficulties convince you that life is against you. Life is always working for you, just not always in the way you expect. When you widen your perspective, you start to see that even storms bring rainbows, even endings bring beginnings, and even challenges bring out the best in you. In the end, improvement is not about escaping problems, it's about elevating perception. The same life, the same people, the same challenges can look entirely different through the eyes of gratitude, faith, and understanding. Problems may not disappear, but when your perspective grows, they no longer have the power to shrink your spirit. And that is when you truly begin to live, not in the shadow of your problems, but in the light of your new perspective.